What would you tell yourself 15, 20 years ago when you were really going through something? Or maybe it was a year ago or 25 years ago. Hi, y'all. I'm Brita, and I coach professionals on personal development. And today we're going to be talking about what you would tell your younger self, regardless of the event. But let's say it was something that it was a transition time. It was a difficult time in your life when things were really mixed up, when you were mixed up. Looking back on that time, what would you tell yourself? So what brought this on was I am in Olympia, Washington. And this is a place that I had visited in the last 15 years, but I hadn't lived here in 16 years. And when I did live here, I was going through a big transition in my life. I was getting divorced. I was leaving children, stepchildren behind. And it was a very tumultuous, difficult time. And when I left, I just was fleeing. I just wanted to get out of here as soon as possible. And I have been back many times since, but not to stay. And every time I got back, even after a few hours, I was like, get me out of here, get me out of here. And now I'm living back here temporarily to help with a family matter. And it has been incredibly healing, and it's brought up a lot of that old stuff. But now I'm able to process it and deal with it and heal from it. And I was thinking last night of that time, that tumultuous time when I lived here before. And what would I tell myself? You know, with the benefit of hindsight, with the benefit of all of the deep personal development work that I've done, what would I tell myself then? What did I need to know then that I did not know? I had no idea. And so I just started jotting down. And we're going to go through those. And they're not in any particular order. And why this is relevant to you, how this is relevant to you, is that I've been working with professionals for nearly a decade. And I can tell you, my list is probably very similar to your list. If you sat down and did this exercise yourself, which I would invite you to do. My list is very common with other professionals. So get what you get out of it, and if it doesn't apply to you, okay, fine. But the first thing that I would tell my old self, and I think I was 39 at the time, 38, 39 when I was going through this time, would be to trust my gut. Trust my gut. I kept going to, well, I think this, and I think this, and what about this, and what about this, and what about this person, and this person. And it was all fear-based. But when I got quiet, when I could go outside, and when I could listen to my instinct, it would talk. And I can tell you, when I followed it, it was spot on. It was absolute spot on. So the first thing that I would tell myself going back then is to listen to my instinct, listen to my gut, trust that I could trust my inner self. When at the time I didn't think I could trust myself at all. I didn't think that I could trust my decisions. I could, but not my head. But I could trust my inner self. The second thing that I would tell myself, oh, and by the way, so can you. The second thing that I would tell myself is that it's going to really help to be able to hear my instinct, to hear my inner self. The quieter I get, the stiller I get, and the more that I am outside in nature, in the park, not even in the park where, there's cars coming and other people. No, go out in the forest, go to the beach as much as possible. Number one, I was really going through it, and nature is and was a tonic for me. It's just a salve. It's just so nurturing, literally and figuratively, that I would tell myself, Spend as much time in nature, especially when you're going through this difficult time, as possible. And the more you're out there, not music, not counting steps, not seeing how far you could go, none of that, but just be out there to absorb it. And the quieter you are, the more you can hear your instinct. So I would really encourage myself to get outside, get outside, get outside. It is that healing. I would also tell myself, and this I still struggle with today. Oh, ouch. And brace yourself, because I bet all of you do as well. I would tell myself to slow down. That even though it felt like I was in this big, huge rush, like I had to get out, I had to do this, I had to get my practice going again in Seattle, I had to sell my house fast, I had to buy a house fast, I had to go, faster. I didn't. There wasn't a rush. Even though it felt like there was a rush, there wasn't a rush. I would tell myself to slow down. To take my time, because I would have made better decisions, and I made decent decisions once things got going, but that it would be better to even just sit with big decision, little decision, even just sit with it for a period of time, just to be able to say that I did, instead of having almost a reactive reaction. To just slow down a little bit. I didn't need to move immediately. I didn't need to find office space immediately. I didn't need to buy a house immediately. I didn't need to do anything immediately. And again, I still struggle with that. I make a decision and I'm like, go, run, sprint. And then it turns out maybe there was a better option, but I didn't get to that better option because I had made the decision and then I just went zoom. Okay. So I would tell myself to slow down. There is no rush. And when it feels like there's more of a rush, that's even more important to slow down. If there was a true emergency, like you actually needed to rush, you wouldn't be thinking it. It would just take over. You would just do what you needed to do. It would not be a process of decision making of, I got to hurry up. That's a telltale sign. It's not your instinct. So slow down. Slow down. You can go swiftly. You can get things done, but you don't need to rush. That it's an energy thing. That energy thing of go. You don't need to do that. Okay? I would tell myself that I had the answers inside of me already. Now that at the time would have been a complete and total foreign concept to me. I don't know that I would have accepted it, quite frankly, because I didn't think I had any answers. I didn't think I knew anything. I was looking outside of myself for absolutely every answer. So I don't know that I actually could have accepted that, but that's what I would go back and tell myself. You have the answers. Now, other people might have some good ideas. There might be some things that you don't know that other people can inform you of, but especially on the hows. But as far as what I needed to do, big decisions, where I wanted to go in life, I already had the answers. They were already inside of me. I was just scared to look and I didn't know that they were there. Which leads me to the next thing I would tell myself, which I still struggle with today, is you don't need to know the hows right now. I'm going to say that again because so many people struggle with this, especially professionals, especially attorneys. You don't need to know the hows right now. Ugh. So much of the time, we have I want to do this, I want to achieve this or whatever, I want to make this decision. And before we've even let that gel, that that's actually what we want, our brain has already gone into, well, how are you going to do that? How is that going to work? And we don't know the answer. And so then we shut it down. We shut it down before it even gets going. Like, we're worried about how we're going to do something in 6 months or a year or 5 years. And then it becomes overwhelming. We're like, forget it. Okay. You don't need to know the hows. And I would venture to guess that you have proof of this. Proof all over the place of this. I know I do. I forget it. I forget that I have it, but I do. When I was 19 years old and I moved out of my house with less than $1,000 in my pocket and a 4-year-old, I didn't know the hows of how this was going to work. I had a theory. Okay, I'll get a job waiting tables and, hope for the best. I didn't know how this was going to work. Guess what? It did. It completely worked. Of course it worked. I didn't know the how of how in the world I was going to get into law school, especially with not great grades. If I would have truly thought from the beginning of how I was going to do this, I probably wouldn't have even tried, because it would have been overwhelming. It would have been like, I can't do this. There's no way I'm going to be able to pull this off. And yet I did. Same thing with law school. How in the world am I going to get through 3 years of this? I'm not as smart as the other people. I didn't get great grades. What am I thinking? If I would have focused on the how, it would have gotten in my way. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because I would have been focused on the how instead of just do it. Don't worry about the how, just do it. Okay? I would venture to guess that you also have a long track record of doing it. Just doing it. Where if you don't let the hows get in the way, you do it. I'll give you an example. So for my 40th birthday, I went to the Miraval Spa in Tucson, which I highly recommend. And I had never done anything physically adventurous up to this point. I'd run marathons, but not adventurous, scary. And they had an exercise where you went up a telephone pole and you walked across, and then they rappelled you down. I'd never done anything like that, and I was scared to death of heights. Well, for whatever reason, I'm like, let's do it. I don't know. I'm turning 40. Let's do it. And so I climbed up there. I have no idea how I did it. But I did it. I get up there and sweat is just pouring out of my hands. And it's time to walk across. And I started walking, and then the how got in my head, and I actually stopped and went back to the pole. I turned around on the top of the pole and walked back. So I get back to the pole, and now I'm really scared. Now I'm just all about the hows and how am I going to do this? There's no way I can walk across that, and how, and what's my right foot supposed to do, and then what's my left foot supposed to do, and how is this going, and how am I going to keep my balance? And the guy below, it was perfectly safe. I'm all roped up. He'd have to go on a lunch break and drop me for me to get hurt. He said something really wise that I still use with my people today, my clients today. He said, this is just walking. You've been doing this since you were 1 year old. It's just walking. He said, I can see your feet. Your feet know what to do. They want to walk. Shut up in your head and just walk. And when I did that, when I shut my brain off and I just did what I knew how to do, I've been walking for a very long time, I made it across there without any problem in seconds, and it was amazing. It was amazing. And I got down and I was so proud of myself. And that's what started kind of my physical ability to do scary things. I couldn't have done trapeze arts without that experience. I couldn't have wing walked without that experience. So that's just one example. I would imagine you have some. The how is getting in the way. You don't need to know the how right now. The how will become self-evident as you do it. Or maybe you just do it and you figure out how you did it later on. Okay? The how is getting in your way. I would tell myself, this is a little bit more practical. I would tell myself to really take care of myself. Spend the money, get the massages, get the acupuncture, do what I needed to do to sleep. I would tell myself to spend a lot of time alone. I kind of was at the time because I just left and I was living on my own. Spend time by yourself in the stillness, not with the TV on, not with scrolling. This was before scrolling was a thing. Spend time by yourself. That's when you can hear your instinct. This is far more practical, but life-changing. I would tell myself to really watch the sugar and the carbs and the wine. Like, cut it out. Cut it out. Just stop. I was addicted to the carbs and the sugar. And I was going to them, especially during this time. And I was going to wine too, as a relief to calm me down, especially in the afternoons and evenings, to give me a little bit of, reward for getting through the day. Like that was what I had to look forward to. And I thought that it was calming me down and making things better, even if it was for just a few seconds. What I didn't realize was that it was making things so much worse. It was jacking my anxiety up through the roof. It was making me feel not myself. It was really interfering with my ability to listen to my inner self, to feel like my inner self. It was making the anxiety worse. It was making the depression worse. So I would tell myself, whether, don't believe me or not, try it for 3 weeks, try it for 2 weeks, see how you feel. Night and day difference. The thing that I was going to make me feel better was actually a big part of why I was feeling worse. I would tell myself to be respectful, but not hold on to the money as tight as I was. I was very, very scared. I was scared to spend any money. I was certainly scared to spend it on myself. And then I would restrict, and then a part of me would rebel, and then I would go and blow money on stuff that I didn't even really want. It was just a cycle. And money was tight. I just shut my practice down. I was getting it going again, and I had a mortgage and rent, and I had just gotten divorced, and all of the things. So money was tight, but it wasn't as tight as I was making it. And that restrictive really hurt me. It took longer to process and longer to heal. If I had spent some money and went away for even, a week or 2 weeks and really just healed, that would have been really helpful. If I would have said, you know what, I'm giving myself permission to get a massage once a week, that would have been helpful. I really restricted the money, and I wouldn't do that again. So I would tell myself, don't be reckless, but it's going to be okay. The money's coming in. It always has. It always will. But the more you spend that money on your self-care, the faster it's going to come in, and the faster you're going to heal and get through this time period, okay? I would tell myself, and this is especially in regard to other people, trust the energy. Trust the energy. A lot of times you can't trust what people tell you, unfortunately. A step up from that is their behavior, how they actually behave, not what they say, what they do, how they behave. A step up from that you can trust is a pattern of behavior. It's getting harder and harder to lie when there's a pattern of behavior. But what you can always trust, always, 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 is someone's energy. And that is just what you feel. Because energy doesn't lie, and you know it. We're all a bunch of animals at the end of the day, and our survival, animal survival, depends on being able to read energy. Read whether that person over there, that animal over there, intends you harm or not. To be able to judge, is that person lying or not? Is that person manipulating or not? Our survival depends on it. So you can read energy, and it doesn't lie. I so wanted to believe the lies. I so wanted to believe the lies, the beautiful lies that I was being told. The energy said something different. So if I could tell myself, I would tell myself, trust the energy, even if it hurts, even if it gives you the answer you don't want. If you ignore the energy, you are doing that at your peril, every single time, at your peril. The next thing that I would tell myself is to know that all is well, that I was safe, that whatever it was going to be okay. And it didn't feel that way sometimes. To trust the universe, to trust God, to trust my inner self, that it was going to be okay, even if I didn't know how, again with the how, even if I didn't know how. To trust. I don't know that I could have done that at that point, where I was in my growth. But looking back, I would tell myself, and at least plant that seed, that even if it didn't look like it, I could trust. I could trust the universe. I could trust God, source, higher power, whatever you want to call it. And I could trust my internal self, maybe not my brain all the time. The next thing that I would tell myself is to focus on the short term more and not on the long term. I, as well as so many of my attorney clients, get caught up in the long term, the 3-year goals, the 5-year goals, the 10-year goals, the 20-year goals. How am I going to retire? Oh, I'm worried about retirement. I'm 38. Like, give me a break. Like, we've been to too many, personal finance seminars. Okay? Chill. I would tell myself to focus more on the short term. Just do your best today. Just make the best choices that you can make today. Just focus on the next step, not the entire staircase. When you look at the entire staircase, it's overwhelming. It's, oh my God, there's so many steps. How am I going to do that? And by the time I get there, I'm going to be tired. And, okay. So it gets overwhelming. It also is going to trip you up. If you're focused on, step number 100, you're likely to trip over the step you're on right now. You're on the right path. Just keep going, one step at a time, and just focus on the next step. Okay? So those are the 10 of the things that I would tell myself. There's a whole other list, and we will get to that next week. There's a whole another 10, okay, that we'll get to, but I couldn't do them all in one video. So I would invite you to do this as well for yourself. Think back of a transition or a difficult time in your life, and what would you, if you could go back as yourself now with your knowledge, with your wisdom, with your development now, and you could go back and talk to yourself like you were just sitting next to yourself talking to a best friend, what would you say? With love, without shame, without, I can't believe you did this, I can't believe we're here again. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. But what would you tell yourself with love? Just start writing a list. Just start writing a list in your journal. I think it'll be a really good exercise for you. Okay? So we will, next week, I'll finish up my list and take special note of any that you're like, ooh, I do that too. Oh, I'm having an issue with that too. Okay? That's what we're here for, is to learn from each other and to share and to know you're not alone and to grow together. Okay, take care, friend. Bye.